Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Senji. Thank you for tuning in. Uh, like last time, I described like what I'm going to write and what I'm going to do. So this time, I'm just going to start with the coding itself. So again, the idea is pretty much basic. I'm going to write a script or my set of functions which I can apply on any website. So in these functions, I'll be doing all those redundant tasks which I do repetitively on every time I do a scripting. So let's go. So here you can see in my PyCharm editor, I have two files. One is companion.py. So this is going to be that script in which I'm going to write all those functions which I use generally. And then there is this function e-commerce underscore scraper in which I've called these functionalities and I'm doing all those of extraction and printing out the data and checking the stuff. So all those functions have been called here and can be used. So just I'm kept everything different, so we can just see that how modularity can be done. So these are the functions. First function is check and response. Second is generate HTML. Third is extraction. Fourth is cleaning. So these four functions today I'm going to cover, and we are going to get them done. And if we have a look at our first function, it is check and response. And what it does is it uses parameters, that is URL. Then there is this parser. So this function is more of doing one thing. It checks if that with the request.get method, if that response is okay, that is if the status code is 200 okay, it is going to return us a beautiful object directly. And then if there is response code is different than 200 or it's less than 200 or greater than 299, we are going to treat it as a general error and going to return a print statement for that the error happened. So in this, I have a to-do add functionality for generating this response, and then there is this documentation in which I have kept what this function does. You can download this script from GitHub and have it a go. So what I'll do, I'll just write the code and you can understand that. So first I'm going to create a variable that is page, and it is going to use request.get, and it is going to get the URL. And now we're going to check if page.status code in range. So I'm going to treat all the values from 200 to 299 are okay. So I'm going to say that response was successful or request was successful, and it will return you a beautiful soup object. So that is just calling the BS. I already have libraries imported here, so you can see on the top all the libraries are there. So just don't get confused about these BS and how I'm doing them. So page dot, you can see that all suggestions came up to me. Page dot text I'm going to use, and the parser is already there. So my parser is already there. That's the default parser. So if you want to use any other parser or any other format, you can just describe it and change the function for itself. So in this, I did one thing, was like did calculation at one place, stored it into a variable, and used that calculation for doing all the stuff. And else I'm going to return you the error. Like it's going to return me my error. So just inside the string, I'll say request was denied, and I'm going to print out that error code as well. So request was denied. The error code is in this. I'm going to use string formatting, and I'm going to paste the status code itself. So any status code, it is going to show us the code itself. Because every time we need to take care of if the company's policies are there and if we are being allowed to scrape a website or not. In the first place, some websites don't allow you, so you have to have this idea of what kind of error happened. So this will help. So this is done. The first function is done. Only 5 lines or six lines. So that's done. Now you can see that it is generating a yellow marker down below. It's saying that to follow the web page. So it says in between two functions. In between two functions, there should be two empty spaces. So 2 lines of space. So in this function, I'm going to generate an HTML, and this HTML is going to just an HTML. So sometimes we just want to use this HTML to see what kind of data we have. So for this, I'm going to use context processor with open. The file name is temp.html. Every time this thing works, it should work well. Like it will have a name of temp HTML, and it's being opened in a write plus, so it will be rewritten every time. And then encoding is to be done, and encoding is UTF-8, and I'm going to call it as a FP file pointer, and to that FP I'm going to write whole document that is coming from this. The whole response object is being converted into a text. So I'll just use soup object.prettify, not content, prettify. So I'll just directly use it, and it will write this whole website to this temp.html. Let's write the extraction code. And once done, we'll run all of them together so that we can see if everything was working fine or not. So in extraction code, we don't need to do anything. We already you can have a look at the arguments and the parameters. It needs a soup object, tag, class, attribute, index, single. So this is the logical thing which we need to handle in this function. Else everything is same. It will use find all method and get text. So for me, I'm going to fetch the whole data. I'm going to do whole calculation at once, and according to these values, index and single, I'll be returning the result set. So let me just create the first function, that is the data, and it is an iterable. I'm going to use inbuilt functionality, that is list comprehension, and I'll use list comprehension, and in this I'll use get text. So it is treating every object in this list is becoming a string object for Python. For I in, we're going to use soup object find all, so automatically tag, and then we need to pass the values of class and area. So this is pretty much it. It is going to return us a text for every element in this soup object find all. So this find all is going to return us an iterable, and within that iterable every object is a beautiful soup object, and on that every beautiful soup object we are applying a get text function. So it is going to fetch out that clear text out of it. So suppose in that tag where we saw the name of the mobile, we are going to get the name of the mobile only. So this is the data. Now let's handle the extraction. So suppose if we want to get the first value, right, the only first occurrence of the value. So suppose if I use this on some other page, we'll see. If I want to have this only one value, like I don't want the complete list or complete data itself, I want the first value. What I can do is I can return the zeroth element from the data. So it's very basic. So I'll just say return data 0, and if, sorry, not if, else if the index is there. So if index, for this what I mean is, if sometimes people want different length lists. So suppose someone is going through this whole website and he wants, like, I want only 5 elements, so he can define this index, and what will return is we'll slice that list into to that length. So we'll just say that else we're going to return data itself. So we don't need to write. It's pretty much it. This function is done as well. Like I'm giving. This is my cleaning function. In this, I'm not doing anything. In this, I'm using format and iterable. So that's pretty much the map function. So in this, I'm going to return the map value. Return. It is going to return us a list, and it is a map object in which we are applying the format. And second thing is the iterable. So iterable, I'm talking about this iterable, the data iterable I'm going to get. So the list I'm going to get is I'm passing here. So this is it about, the 4 functions are done, and I can just run it on my scraper. So the 4 codes are done. Let's see them. So let me explain you first. I'm importing companion and every function from the companion module by calling from companion import strings. And then I have created two statements which I use for my database connectivity. First is the create statement, which creates the table, okay, and in this table it creates four fields like ID, then there is the model name which is the text, and then there is this rating and price. So you can see the data I'll be getting will be text, and here the data I'm storing is a float. So I need to convert the data I'm getting into a float or a int. Then there is this insert statement. So this is where the whole piece of logic is there, and because of this I don't need to write multiple for loops. So what I've done is I've combined that into the table mobile data. I've combined I created a tuple kind of structure. You can Google it from Google. You will get the idea how to write these kind of statements. So the whole data I want to feed into the table. So in the way of tuple, I've written the model name, rating, and price, and then there is this values $s, $s, $s. So what I can do is I can pass this as a string, and to that string I can pass the data. So every data will be inserted in itself. So we'll see in that database operation. My URL, that is a constant, so I have kept it all caps. So that's constant. Now the first two functions you can see. First is response, that is check-in response. I'll pass the URL, and then the second is generate HTML. So it will generate a response, that is temp.html in this folder space. And in the second part I'm extracting those three data. So name data is inside this I showed you in this first class, and then price data and ratings data, and I've combined this whole data into a tuple. So this whole data is going to become a tuple of tuples, and for every data in this tuple is an enumerate list, so it's going to give it an index and a value. And there is this function, that's lambda function, so we can apply a lambda on a map. So what we're trying to do is, I'm doing it for price, so I'm going to convert whole data into float. So what I'm trying to do here is, for every element like x in that iterable, convert that iterable into a float by removing the zeroth element, starting that string from first to the last, and in that string apply one thing more, that remove that commas with nothing. So we can have a complete, like if it was rupee sign 7 comma triple nine, so we can have rupee sign removed, comma removed, 7,999.0, so that will be a float. So I'm calling that cleaning function on mobile prices and rating, because rating is also a string. I want to convert that rating into a float directly. So it is in behind the scenes, it's a map function, so it can take that type to which you want to convert, and the iterable to values of the values. So clean mobile prices, clean mobile rating. So we have all this data, and just for understanding we can see the type also. So print type of clean mobile prices, and here we can see the print type of clean mobile prices, price data, price data. And in price data I'm going to look for the zero element, so it is going to tell me that if it is a string, and then in this I'm going to see if it is being converted into a float. So if I run this whole function, it should extract the data, it should create an HTML, and it should clean the data. So let's give it a go. So not Python console, we need the terminal. So here we have the terminal, and now run this Python 3 e-commerce tracker. So output is there. You can see request was successful. I hope I should get an HTML here. So yeah, that HTML is also created. Okay, data is also there. You can see like this function where I combined this whole data into a tuple. This looks like my insert statement kind of data. So the mobile name is there, price is there, and rating is there also. So we have this complete data. So we can see we have got the data, and if we can have a look, so the first thing was here print type price data, it was string, and it converted that into a float. So we have converted our data into a float. So if just we can print it out, we can see that the whole mobile price data is converted into a float. So print mobile prices, and if I run this again, so first it was string, then float. We can see that the string is being converted into float. So our four functions work fine. So in this session, we saw like how easy it is to write for few set of functions which you can use. Now I can use this on any website. In the next, it will be finalized like with the with creating the database connectivity function and execute then operation function, and that's pretty much it. So thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you in the last video, and keep on learning. God bless you. Thanks.